The Director of Public Relations, Media and Communication for the African Action Congress, Rachel Onamusi ARC, joins us to discuss the call for consensus candidates by the presidential candidate of the ANN party, Fela Durotoye, and the stepping down of Dr. Oby Ezekwesili on the thanks for joining me on the broadcast.
Thank you for having me.
Now, I would like to have your initial reaction to that announcement by Dr. Oby Ezekwesili.
Well, we'd like to commend Dr. Oby Ezekwesili on her decision to step down and work towards a coalition. We at the African Action Congress, AAC, fronted by Omoyele Sowore as our presidential candidate, have always been pro-coalition. If you know something about Sowore's background, he has been pro-coalition from his early days in the university. To run a student union government that overthrows military rule, you have to talk to labor unions. You've got to talk to civil society movements. Coalitions is what we do best. Even working on Sahara Reporters as the publisher for that online platform, we rely heavily on citizen reporters. So it's something that is very much ingrained in our ethos. It's something that we're willing to do. As we speak, we're talking to parties and structures all around the country for coalitions to ensure that we do what we can and have the strongest possible strength or force, if you like, to overthrow the cabals as we see them. We've already been successful with working with the National Conscience Party, which is the NCP, and the Change Nigeria Party, the CNP, and they have actually collapsed their structures into ours in AAC, and they now endorse us fully as their candidates. We continue to work behind the scenes. These are conversations that are not done in front of a camera. These are not conversations that are done or splashed in the news headlines, but as far as up till election day, we will have these conversations, as many conversations as it takes to get us to where we need to be, which is a Nigeria that works for everyone.
Absolutely, Rachel. It is one thing to support a consensus candidate. It's another thing to decide to be the one to step down to support a particular candidate. I mean, that's where the problem lies. Do you see your candidates perhaps withdrawing and supporting another candidate, or do you think this coalition has to be about Sowore?
I think that our party has to be about Sowore. What we stand for is what works for Nigeria. What we stand for is what is best for Nigeria. So what we have done is to put ourselves in a position where our strength cannot be questioned whatsoever. We want to bring about a government that is willing to work with Nigerians and progress Nigerians. And so if a coalition requires that Sowore heads this, then this is something that we will definitely talk about and make sure that we champion.
Let's talk about the election guidelines. There's been lots of controversy surrounding that. What does your party think about that guidelines? Do you have confidence in the electoral system?
I'm sorry, I'm going to need you to repeat that. I couldn't hear
about the election guidelines recently released. Many parties have come out to condemn the guidelines. What do you think about them? Do you have confidence in the INEC?
INEC was a body that saw to the overthrow, with the help of publications such as Sahara Reporters, offering on the scene release of the ballots, oversaw the overthrow of a sitting government in the person of Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, and put Muhammadu Buhari as president. So we believe that as long as they follow the rules that they have set out, as long as they carry out a free, fair and transparent elections, there is no reason why we should not emerge as the president of Nigeria. Our candidates cannot be sworn in on June 12th. We urge them to follow their own guidelines. We urge them to do what is right for the Nigerian people. We urge them to make sure that every vote counts. I think there is no doubt that there could be some malfeasance, but we will make sure that we remain vigilant. We call on the Nigerian people to report any sort of electoral activities that do not follow the national guidelines. And by this doing, I'm sure that this is something that INEC will be able to successfully pull off. They pulled it off in 2015. I have every confidence that as long as they follow their own guidelines, they should be able to pull it off for the AAC party and for Omoyele Sowore come June 12th, on February 16th, and then have him sworn in on June 12th.
Well, thank you for your time. I'm Rachel Onamusi Biasi. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much for having me.